stitches, dodging hitches. I was working on the railway. 1843, I broke my shovel across my knee. Went to work for the company in the Leeds to Selby Railway. I was wearing corduroy breeches, digging ditches, pulling switches, dodging hitches. I was working on the railway. Yeah.
Good evening. Welcome to Brian's Live. Which is a bit of a mess up because Brian wasn't going to be live tonight anyway. But
True.
he was out in his workshop, I think it was Friday, and got a bit poorly with a cold. He was struggling, so I basically just said, don't worry about it. I'll cover Monday for you. And it was Sunday before I realised that Brian wouldn't have been on Monday anyway. But having said I'll do it, let's do it.
We're doing it.
Exactly.
Let's introduce you to the team.
Oh.
We have the wonderful Ruby Claire.
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
The incredibly knowledgeable and also wonderful Wayne Clasper.
Evening, peeps.
Oh, you have to stop that now.
And the poorly Brian.
And me. Good
But
evening,
at least
everybody.
you're alive, Brian. At least
Yep.
you're alive.
I'm still alive yet.
We did
Okay.
hope to have Jo here as well, but she hasn't made it out of the hospital today. Hopefully during the week she'll be out, but not in time for tonight.
Good news.
But,
Good news.
All our best wishes to Jo.
Definitely.
Anyhow, before we go any further, I did finish what I started last night. So I'll stick the guys in the background.
There we go.
So I called out that set of bowls. So I've got 3 decent bowls and 1 little dish. Stuffed away in the drying shed now. I'll get them out in about 6 months' time and they should be ready to turn. So that was a bit of fun. And there's another reason why I don't normally turn on a Monday night. Once a fortnight, my dust extraction goes into a bin and it gets emptied by the council. So I haven't got dust extraction tonight. But I thought I'd show you a picture of my system, which is in the woodshed next door to my workshop. So I've got the Axminster chip extractor hooked up to a cyclone, which dumps straight into a garden waste bin. And that gets emptied every 2 weeks by the council. So that's my problem solved. Except for the fact it's out in the front at the moment being emptied by the council tomorrow morning. So minimal sanding tonight. So I've gone for a smaller piece than I intended to.
There we go.
Yeah. How small? Oh, God, tiny.
Oh, that is
It's
small.
very small. I'll tell you how big it is. I think it's about 5 inches. Yeah, just under 5 inches.
Now, is
Sort of
this your
square.
hashtag piece?
Yep, this is the hashtag corner bowl. So that's what I'm going to do.
Oh, okay. This should be interesting.
This should be very interesting.
Find a gouge. This one. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do that
He's not
instead.
going to do that. He's going to do that instead.
Right, just decided on a mortise rather than a tenon.
Right, I'll read out the chat. I don't want to get Brian's throat worse than what it is, so I'll read out the chat rather than let Brian do it.
Good man.
So I've gone right up to the top as far as I can go. I think Pete said hello to Andy. That's probably door 60, I would think.
Door 60 was first, yeah.
Yeah. We've got Mike Hugh, Ilminster, is in. Andy, the Valley Wood Turner, is in. Hence saying, morning, Pete. Michael McEwen's here. Woodworm Paul. Ward Wilson from the west coast of Arizona. Fred Gulliver. William's in. Evening, William. Susie, the Swiss Wood Turner. Good evening, Susie. How are you doing? Roger Kent. Fred Gilliver says, sorry I missed you last night, Pete. A power cut messed up some of his settings and put you in restricted mode. It all seems well now. Alex Wurzel is here and says, hello folks, I'm here in spirit watching two screens. So he's obviously watching Woodturn 360 as well. Michael McEwen. Oh, Ruby's here. Hiya, Ruby.
Yeah, Wayne.
Roger Kent. I don't know if I already mentioned Roger. Going down. Oh, Doug's here. Evening, Doug. And Todd at Glen Cove. Roy's the boy is here. Evening, Roy. Steve Perkis has said he made it. Hi, all. Evening,
Hi, Steve.
Even Steve.
See you for coffee tomorrow, Steve.
David Vaughan's here. And Alex Wurzel has said, Ruby, you're in two places at once. Lol. Mike is here from Dancers. Did I mention David Vaughan? I'm getting bad at this now. James Crawford's in. Alan Gabe. Still going down. Lucy's here. Evening, Lucy.
On a tablet.
Oh, she's on a tablet tonight. Is that she's on her tablet or she's still taking the tablets?
Yeah, well,
We'll
could
find-
be both.
Yeah, we'll find out later.
Notice I'm turning the ladle every time I move the tool rest.
That's a good
Because
plan.
Ruby's watching.
Yeah. Roy
it's
has
also
said.
You're starting to sound like Mike.
Roy
You
has
guys
said.
only behave when I'm here.
Yes, Ruby. Everybody behaves when you're here. Nobody behaves when you're not.
I
And
feel like I'm
Roy
back
is-
in front of my classroom.
Roy said, I thought it had to be a three-ring bowl. Well, Roy. Andy Lunetri is here. Good evening, Andy. The prof is in. He's also multitasking with 360 in his other ear.
I'm just going to watch it tomorrow when the link comes out.
Yeah, so am I. I'm going to do that as well.
Still appreciate you guys coming in despite 360 being on. Said it was a bit of a mix-up on our part because I was taking pity on Brian when
You were.
he shouldn't have been on anyway. So
And it wasn't going to be on anyway. And I
No.
was that stupid. I was that kind of stupid at the time. I didn't realise that it was 360.
So Alex has said, I think I need to watch a few more people doing these after my attempts today. Well,
Oh,
I've
that's
already
okay.
said before we started tonight, I said to the guys that I'm probably going to be doing one on Wednesday, and Brian may well be doing one on Thursday.
With a bit of luck and a bit of...
We will see. See how he feels. Okay,
Yeah, I will.
that's not certain yet. We'll just see how he feels.
Yep.
Chris Cox is in. Oh, Miss T's in as well. Evening, T.
Oh, Misty.
good evening.
And Lucy said my tablet is so slow compared to my phone.
Yeah.
Well, I have heard, Lucy, if you take tablets with a fizzy drink, they tend to act faster.
Our friend Todd has just said, just watch it at 2 times speed, Lucy. It'll be fine.
And that's me at the bottom of the chat. I do apologise if I missed anybody. If you put something else in the chat, I'm sure I'll catch up with it.
I don't think you did. We've currently got
And Roy-
42 people watching.
Right, and Roy has said he's seen Darren Breeze a few times, so I'm sure he won't miss me tonight. Yeah, I met Darren at Harrogate last year.
Saw Darren recently at the club actually, and
Yep.
it started off as a great demo, but then Darren broke the lathe.
Well, he didn't.
Now, to be fair, the lathe was in need of repair. Darren just happened to be unlucky enough to be using it when it went.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Todd has said, Lucy somehow always comes up short.
Mark the Gentleman
Mark,
Woodtunner just joined us.
good
Evening,
evening, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Good evening. Hope you had a good meeting at the weekend.
Oh, that's right. Did they come up with any significant decisions at the meeting?
Well, it seems I got talked about a bit.
Douglas Mungham's in as well. Good evening, Douglas.
You're not in
Evening.
trouble
Hello,
again, are you,
Douglas.
Wayne?
No, not in trouble at all. There was an advert in the last Revolutions magazine about they were wanting an assistant
Oh, yeah,
committee
for
member
Scotland.
type thing for Scotland. So I did
Ah,
ask
right.
about it, but it seems I'm too far south in Scotland for that. But I could be giving a helping hand to the guy who was the North of England rep.
Oh,
With the visiting clubs around Cumbria and maybe southern Scotland. I'm not too sure yet, but I'm going to be contacted in the next couple of days about that.
good man.
That'll keep you out of trouble, won't it?
Or get him into more. One of the two.
Or get
Yeah,
you
yeah.
more, one or the other.
Oh, Lucy's got 360 on her phone. She's got the 360 on the speedy thing. And got us on the slopey. Oh, that's okay.
Oh, right, okay.
That's fair enough, Lucy.
Is that a
That's okay.
little bark
That's all right, Lucy. We
inclusion
know where
there?
we stand.
Is that a little bark inclusion there, Pete?
What, here? It's
No,
just
no.
the
No,
rain.
On the
No,
right hand
other
side.
side, other side.
Keep
Keep-
turning there.
There.
That's
Where your
it.
thumb
At the
is.
top now.
Yeah, there is a little bit.
That's nice.
What are we doing there? I did
Well, Mark's-
cheat and put this on a belt sander to square up the edges, so I'll just give them a
Ah, dear.
touch of 180.
Mark says he says yes, but he can't say what just yet. How interesting.
All right. Yeah, if Mark's talking about something that he's doing at the moment, it is very interesting. Oh, what's Alex going on about now? Alex has got 3 monitors hooked up to his PC.
How do you manage that? I can only get 2 from mine.
Dear me. Oh, Glenn's in. Evening, Glenn.
Yeah, Yorkshire
Hi,
get done.
Glenn.
Good evening, Glenn.
And Mark said, "Oh look, someone else can get his corners on."
Shakes head and walks away. Oops.
Oh, Alex has said he's got a graphic card with 3 outlets. That's how he can have
Oh.
3 monitors.
I see.
And
Yeah. Lisa has 3 monitors on her desk.
Um,
But then she works
Chris was-
remotely from a single screen controlling the 3 monitors. It confuses my head.
oh dear
Okay.
me.
Paul
Chris
Finley's
from
joined us.
10 Creeks has come in. Yeah.
Oh, hi,
I was
Chris.
about to say, Paul.
hi, Paul.
Sorry I couldn't make lunchtime today, Paul.
So a bit of maple
Oh,
syrup.
Shane's in. I never noticed Shane coming in.
Neither did I. Evening, Shane.
And he is asking Glenn how Joe's doing.
Well, if you run out of maple syrup, let me know so that when I come over, I'll bring you some. Okay?
I am absolutely amazed that I haven't broken that bottle yet.
They're pretty sturdily made.
So, yeah, Glenn has just said Joe's still in hospital, but she's still improving. So, fingers crossed she'll
Excellent
go back
news,
out
Glenn.
shortly.
Excellent news.
Thanks, Doug. Terry Bartlett's in. Hi, Terry.
Good evening, Terry.
All the way
Doing
from
these
Plymouth.
edges,
Very-
most of them are going to be cut away in a bit.
Most of them.
Now this is when you would use your abrasive paste, but this has got 4 corners and I don't want to put my fingers in there, so I'm not going to.
Okay. The professor has said, I have you on iPad 360 on the Mac, and I'm working on my laptop. Who says it's only women that can multitask?
Quite right.
Well, seeing as I'm not abrasive pasting it, I will use a bit of web racks just to denib the sanding sealer.
Glenn has just put in the chat, he says, I've spent fortunes while being unsupervised. See, that's
Yeah.
what happens, then. That's what happens.
Hang on. This is Glyn we're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
he
He
spends
spends
a-
fortunes
he-
anyway.
He spends a fortune when Joe's there.
Exactly.
True,
And doesn't care.
but he's only got a couple more delivery dates before she'll see what he spent.
Well,
Well,
it doesn't really matter. The thing is, I mean, those of us who know Glyn the way we do,
Yep.
if he's bought, it doesn't matter how much stuff he's bought. It's going to go into the unit and sit in the box
Yeah.
for at least 3 years.
Yep, and then you sell it to Brian.
And then I'll buy it off him likely. which won't be the first time that I bought a box from Glenn.
We love you really, Glenn. You wouldn't take the mickey otherwise.
I must stop looking at that.
Okay, sorry, that was
YouTube page.
a Hampshire Sheen. Yeah, YouTube's on a different time zone.
It's in a totally different time zone today. Let's just pop out the chat and cover that.
Glyn just said to me, I'm not going to say that word,
Yes, yeah.
but I know what he means.
All right. Oh, you mean Blix? I
Mhm.
think there's a few. There may be a few letters missing from Blix, but
Yeah,
I think we get the drift.
there are. There are. Yes.
Yeah. Where can I hear the music from?
Oh, Andrew's just come in from AGK. Good evening,
Ah.
Andrew.
Good evening,
Hiya.
Andrew. Douglas says I'll not see the light of day until there's an inch of dust on the boxes. Well, I mean, the boxes I've heard from Glenn didn't seem to have any. Well, maybe that was coming through the post that did it, of course. I don't know.
Okay, so that's that side done.
There you go.
Pete, did I need to remind you it's supposed to be a 3-wing bow?
Ah, oops. Hang on.
3-winged piece. It doesn't have to be a bow.
Yeah.
It's a 3-winged piece.
Hashtag week, Pete. Hashtag week.
Hang on.
Hashtag
can sort
3-winged
that.
piece.
Yes, there is definitely music in the background. It's not coming from me, I've got to say.
Not me neither.
Oh,
Must be
Jamie's
Ruby.
in. Evening, Jamie.
Ah, JP, how are you?
Hi, JP.
Sorry, I have to keep lifting the microphone to cough. Sorry, guys.
Right, I'm just going to resolve that slight mix-up.
You also get just said, yeah, just chop one of the corners off. Pete. Can't do that.
Can anybody hear a bandsaw in the background?
I think I can. Pete, you're not chopping a corner off, are you? You'll not hear us because the bandsaw's on. I think you may have hit the nail right on the head there, Glenn. And Alex. I'm getting a new back door tomorrow. How about that? New
Oh, excellent.
new patio doors out of the house.
Oh, brilliant. Are the ordinary type patio doors or the bifold or what?
No, just ordinary ones.
Just
It's not
ordinary
big.
ones.
Not a big enough space for bifolds.
Ah, right, okay.
So I've got a set of doors in it at the minute, but they've got that Georgian
There you go, 3-wing
Oh.
bowl.
crisscross rubbish in it. Oh, let me see that.
There you go.
That's cheating, Pete.
Oh, don't make me laugh.
Steve Perkins has said he is doing a Blue Peter. He is one I made earlier. No, he's not.
No, I just did
Steve.
that on the bouncer.
No, he's just cut the corner off that.
He's just rounding one end. That's a bit of a cheat, Pete, but no, mind. I like it.
I have
Well,
done a number of the cube to 3-corner pots over the years. Quite a few of them on knives. So I thought I'd do something a bit different.
Yeah, it's not really a cheat because Steve did say it is your interpretation
He-
of what
he did.
a 3-wing bull is.
This is true. Or a 3-wing piece.
A 3-wing piece, yeah.
3-wing goblet. Would that be interesting?
Okay, but now to tell you the truth, Brian, that's what I actually thought about.
Now I
doing.
am actually
Yeah.
interested. That was suggested, and
Mm.
I'm wondering how you're going to spin a 3-wing goblet,
Don't know.
It's good.
unless you
I'm
carve it.
I'll maybe
No,
have to have a
it's-
practice
no.
tomorrow.
It's going to be in 2 pieces.
It would have to be, really, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the first piece will be the bowl, which will be the 3-wing,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll get glued onto the stem.
It would kind of have to, I think.
Yeah. I think Katie just come in. Oh, she did. Katie's in.
Good evening,
Morning,
Katie.
mate. And JP is started
singing.
the usual song.
He's singing,
Take
yeah.
these broken wings.
I do apologise, people. I forgot to sharpen this earlier. Just going to touch it up a minute.
William Ken says, Jesus, Peter, I'd never thought of that. William.
Bless you.
Mark at Turn Again Craft is in. Evening, Mark.
Evening, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
I was going to do a miniature of the manta ray. Which takes a little bit more work, but it involves a lot of sanding. And as I don't have an extractor, it's not viable tonight.
Katie thinks JP's turning into Shug.
Oh,
dear.
God, no.
God help us, there couldn't be two of them.
Yeah, the thing is, if JP turns into Shug, Katie is going to have to give him a because Katie is putting a panto on this year, so
Oh, is she?
oh, yeah, she is. So JP might have to get involved in that.
One of the ugly sisters.
Glyn has said, "Send a 4-wing goblet to Mike Walt. It'll come back with 3."
Now, I found the best way to keep those outside wings is to make my cut towards the outside and not towards the inside.
Yes, you're right there. However,
You're a man.
Ooh. Right, Douglas Mullen says, with masking tape.
Yeah, with masking tape.
That helps too.
all I got to remember is I started with an inch thick plank,
The
and I got a
thing
mortise
is,
in
though,
the
Mike,
back.
the way that Mike got his name for doing the goblets, it was his first ever live demonstration,
It
and
was.
it was at UKIS, I think in 2017. I think it was the first UKIS, and Mike did a goblet demonstration and snapped the stem in two. That's how Mike gets his name for doing the goblet.
And he's been doing it ever since. He does make the odd good one.
In fact, that goblet was actually 2016. Glyn said, "Sorry, Glyn. Yeah, 2016 was the first one. 2017, the goblet actually got saved and got presented to Mike at the second UKIS. I'm sure it was.
Yes, they glued it back into a trophy stand, didn't they?
They did.
I was going to say you've lost a corner. Oh, but you have right now.
No, he's still got 3, Brian.
Yeah, he still has.
He's got 3 corners and an elbow.
Mm-hmm.
Todd said, Mike sends his wife to the store to buy masking tape nowadays so that he isn't recognised.
Yeah, Amazon won't send them any now.
JP said 2017 was his first time at UKIS. That was my first time at UKIS as well, Jamie.
Never been, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, they did stop. It was quite a small thing. It was actually held in the Hilton Hotel at Coventry. That's where it was held. Simon Hope was there. There was, the good couple of few vendors. The demonstrations were really good. That was the first time that Jamie and I met in person. Was at UKIS of 2017. In fact, it was the first time me and Mike met, and me and Martin as well. Met loads of people there.
William Kenny's just said, I'm looking at Mike on 360. Unusual to see him with his gob shut.
Oh, dear me.
Oh, God.
You guys need to be nicer. I mean, Mike went out of his way to be really nice yesterday.
I did, he must
Yeah,
be,
sometimes he does accidentally be nice.
he must be not well, that's why. Yeah. That was me, it was poorly.
I was chatting to him earlier, actually.
Glyn's just said a company called Yorkshire Grit was there too. In fact, that was the first time I met Glyn and Joe. Was at UKIS 2017. I think it was after the UKIS of 2017 that I really started annoying Glyn with posting pictures and posts about a VB36 until he eventually turned round. He said, I think he turned round in a message and said to Martin, "Can you tell this guy to stop posting me pictures of VBs?" Which I didn't do. And I ended up going with him to buy his first VB.
Andy's second one.
Yeah, Andy's second one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Brian.
Oh, dear. And it's not even in the box. I mean, rounding off the opposite edge would make an interesting 2 wing shape, says Mike.
When COVID shut down Harrogate, because a bunch of us already had rooms booked and so on and so forth, we ended up at Yorkshire Grit headquarters
That's right, you did.
playing on the VB.
Mhm.
That was for the second turning of the big
It
ball.
was,
That's
yes.
correct, yeah.
Because the year before there had been a gathering, which Wayne was at, where they started turning a very large piece of ash.
And before Glyn jumps in here and says that I killed his drill, actually it was Glyn that killed his drill. It wasn't me at all.
Mm. That's not the way Glenn tells it. That's for sure.
JP has said that was the year that people were confusing him and Dave Capasandon. That it was, yeah, I remember that very well, Jamie. Glenn,
You
Glenn
lying
just-
git.
you like it.
Well, he doesn't mince his words.
And to be
Yes.
fair to Wayne, Glenn gives me grief about my desire for a VB36 as much as Wayne did for Glenn. Just I don't have a workshop physically big enough to put it in, so it's not happening.
I'll
See,
guarantee that.
a lot of people say that, but if you are buying just the bowl turning lathe, not the long bed lathe, if you are buying a bowl turning VB36, it's only got a 2-foot footprint.
Yeah.
Yep, that's very true. And if I had the room for 2
Have
lathes, I could
to.
do that. But
Pete doesn't have 2 feet.
Right,
Is that why he
Jamie's,
lives?
right. Jamie has said about the 3-foot ash bowl at Glenn's place, because Jamie was there at the first one. He used an Easywood micro detailer on that 3-foot bowl. Yeah, I was actually standing beside Jamie when he actually did that.
It's going to take a long time.
there is actually some video somewhere of, I think Terry is turning the outside of the bowl at the same time as Glenn's turning the inside of the bowl.
Mm-hmm. There is indeed.
We had a great day doing. I brought home from that, and now it was obviously a wet piece of ash. It was 3 foot. It was over 3 foot diameter by over 12 inches deep, and it was green. Obviously, it'd only been cut down about a fortnight before. But I brought home around about 10 or 11 bags of shavings to burn on my wood burning stove in the workshop.
Well, it's only a piece of green ash, but it's given quite a few of us quite a lot of hours of fun. So
It did.
Oh,
Yep.
it definitely has. It definitely has. Jimmy said, as if you didn't have enough shavings. And I wanted to display more shavings on his shelf. on my shelf, I should say.
that was almost a
Anyway,
finger.
I thought he meant you took the shavings and put them on your head.
No, the all got burnt, Ruby.
Oh, that's one of those fancy chucks, isn't it?
There you have it.
There you have it. Very nice.
Are we done?
A 3-wing bowl.
Well, that was quick.
Yeah, it was a bit quicker than I planned it. Really, sorry about that.
That's all right.
That's all right. That's a different
It's,
interpretation of a 3-wing bow. Now all you need to do is get your laser out and make a nice pattern on it. And you'll be
Now,
good.
Doug is asking about your other bowl, if it got finished, the one you cored.
Coring bows.
Yes, I got 3 decent sized bowls and a little dish. They're in the drying shed now,
There you go.
so I finished those today. I was pushing my luck trying to put a C-jewels on when I was cutting the smaller one, thinking it might hold. It didn't. So I went back to gripper jewels, put that back on the gripper jewels, and it cut ever so easily with those on there. But if you don't try these things, you never learn, do you? You've got to try these things to find out.
Well,
Doug,
exactly.
Doug said no, he meant the 3-foot bowl. Did
Oh,
you
right.
ever finish that one?
Oh,
No, that is, as far as I'm aware, that's still sitting in Glenn's unit. Now, between the first turning and the second turning, it moved a hell of a lot. It warped a hell of a lot. Between the second turning and now, it has also moved a hell of a lot as well.
Hmm.
So basically, we just need to get back up there and finish it.
Yeah, it needs to get
Yep.
finished because what is going to happen with that is that
There you go, Brian.
Take a picture of it.
that is going to be a charity bowl where it is going to be filled with sweets and stuff, and the proceeds are going to. Now, Glenn, you're going to have to remind me here. What are the proceeds going to? I'm sure it's a cancer charity.
He did tell me something, but I can't remember what it was myself.
Something to do with the hospital, wasn't it? Can't remember. Anyway,
Todd Glen Cove has just said, if Lucy stands on Andrew's shoulders, he would just about see eye to eye with Pete.
No, she wouldn't.
That's about right.
No, she wouldn't. If Lucy stands on Andrew's shoulders, she will probably see eye to eye with his belly button.
They're not that small, surely.
Oh, they are.
yeah, you were upset, Lucy. You should come around and punch you in the ankles.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was a bit quicker than I expected. Probably because I rushed it too much. I should have turned the speed down. But yeah, so we're
That's
done.
not big. We'll blame the big lathe, Pete.
Yeah, it's the size of the lathe and the
That's
O'Donnell tools, of course, on the SK114.
Macmillan
Macmillan
nurses.
nurses.
Yorkshire
Yeah.
gets in.
Ah, right, yeah.
Thanks, Glenn.
I
But
just go back to my lamb sip.
thank you all for coming in. Please
I,
remember to click the thumbs up if you get a chance.
yeah,
And as we've got a bit
Jamie-
of chatting time, any questions for any of
right
us?
now, Jamie has said if you stood on Andrew's shoulders, they might be able to pick up the shavings in Wayne's workshop.
Oh,
That's probably true. Oh, Glenn took his time answering because he was getting some beer.
Well, he had a
surprise.
valid excuse.
Good man.
I'm shocked by that bit of news.
Yeah,
Oh.
and Andy Lenny has pointed out why it's quicker. I cut one of the corners off, so it's I cut corners on the bowl.
Exactly.
Now, Douglas wants to
25%
know
less work.
if the SK114 is a good chuck.
It is.
Yes,
Here-
it is an
Here we
excellent
go
chuck.
again. Here we
It's
go
a
again.
fabulous
Now,
chuck.
right. I have had the SK114 since it came out many years ago. I prefer mine because mine has an indexing plate around the back of it. The modern ones
Mm.
don't,
Yep.
which is why I prefer mine. It's an exceptionally good chuck. It will take the. I've also got the old SK100 and I've got the new SK100 as well, and all the jaws are interchangeable between all three chucks. I have also got an
I think you've got one of these as well, haven't you,
old.
Wayne?
Super precision.
Yeah,
Super
I have got a super precision chuck which I use on the VB36, and the jaws are interchangeable with that
Yeah.
as well.
It's 1990s, I think. I think Terry's
Yes,
is old. I think
it
his
is.
is late 80s. And I take the same jaws.
Yeah,
Yep.
they came out in the late 80s, beginning of the 90s. I can't remember exactly when, but the Axminster Super Chuck was the first, as far as I'm aware, 4-jaw chuck for wood turners.
No, I used to have the first one. Peter Child.
Oh, the Peter Child one.
Yeah, it's a
Now,
little
with
2.5-inch 4-jaw truck. Peter Child's called a Master Chuck.
No, the Master Chuck wasn't really the same as the 4-jaw chucks that we've got now, because it only had a limited amount of movement within the chuck itself. The Master Chuck, at least the one that I had, only had a limited amount of movement.
Well, mine didn't
didn't
move
have-
much because it was only 2.5-inch chuck, but it did have a scroll and it did work on carriers exactly the same as the modern chucks. But it didn't have the same spindle thread as I've now got, so it went with my old lathe. But,
Okay.
Yeah, that was a very early one. But yeah, the Axminster, I mean, super precision, late 80s, 90s, through to today's chucks, all take the same jewels, and that is
Yeah.
a
The
key
good
point,
thing
key selling point
the,
of them.
the good thing about the super precision chuck is that you didn't need to order if you changed your lathe. You didn't need to order a separate chuck for your lathe. All you needed to do was order a separate backplate.
Yeah.
Axminster used to do separate backplates for the super precision chuck, which was absolutely excellent. But there's none of the chuck companies do that now.
Well, one thing, when I started out, I found I needed different jaws, and changing the jaws was taking a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just buy another chuck, and I had the big jaws on one chuck, and then the smaller jaws on the next one, and then the needle nose on the next one. And that's one thing the new Easywood chuck has, is it can very, very quickly change the jaws out compared to other trucks.
That's the thing that I really like about the Easywood chuck.
Mm-hmm.
Now with the Axminster chuck, you can buy separate jaw carriers. So you can buy so you can have separate jaw carriers. You can put different size chucks on the jaw carriers, so you don't have to change out the screw out the jaws and put new jaws in. You can just screw out the jaw carriers and put separate jaw carriers in. But
Yeah.
with the Easy Chuck, like Ruby's saying, with the Easy Chuck, it is basically you press in,
Doesn't click.
press and click, and the jaws come out, and you put the new jaws in. It's absolutely brilliant for that.
Very
That's
expensive. though.
what Wayne's saying about the carriers. You fit the carriers to your jaws, and you just change the entire set.
Right.
It's still a bit of a faff.
Still takes a couple of minutes, but the answer to that is to have more chucks.
Correct.
Well,
It's
That's,
not
that's
right.
the proper answer.
It's not as much as of a faff of actually having to screw out all the Allen screws and change the jaws. But the Easy Wood chuck, you don't have to do that. All you do is press and play. You press in, take the jaws out, put the new jaws in. It's absolutely brilliant. But like Ruby says, it's an expensive chuck. It's a very expensive chuck, and to
Exactly.
buy everything, it is really expensive.
I can
Well-
amply demonstrate the value of the Axminster system against any of the small screw systems. Which is which? You drop a
Right,
screw
now,
on the floor
hope we
and
can
you got
find it.
to find it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jamie
So-
says he's got a video of Chris Fisher changing the jaws of the Easywood chuck and back again in less than 40 seconds, and he had never touched the chuck before.
Yeah, it's
No,
a
the
great
thing-
system.
the
There's no
thing-
doubt.
They are
Yeah, the
easy.
thing with Chris, what you've got to remember about Chris Fisher is he's blind.
Yeah. And if he can change them in and out in less than 40 seconds, there's hope for you guys that aren't blind.
And Jamie's also put in about the Easy Wood chuck. It's got a zoom ring. Now,
Right.
what the zoom ring is, it's got a ring that is towards the headstock. And what you do is you can actually turn that zoom ring around, and that tightens the jaws up, just so it grips initially before you put the final tightening on.
Yeah. I mean, I saw them when they first came out, and it was one of the ones I considered. At the time, the price was around about the price of 4 standard chucks. And there wasn't that many jaws available for it. So I chose not to go down that path.
I've used I have used the Easy Wood chuck. I borrowed one for a few months just to see what it was like, and it's a brilliant piece of machinery. It really is.
Mm.
But cost wise, it's up to yourselves. If you want to go with the cost of that, it's an absolutely brilliant chuck.
Yeah.
Well,
The thing is now we've only talked about 2 chucks here. We've talked about Axminster, we've talked about Easywood. There's loads of good chucks out there.
Oh yeah,
There
like
is.
the Vic Mark chucks are really good. The thing is, with the Easy Wood being that easy to change out jaws, instead of buying 2 or 3 bodies for another chuck, all you need are the different jaws, and you can change them out that quickly.
Yep.
Exactly.
So take the cost of 2 or 3 bodies and put that against the
Hang
one
on,
chuck body.
Ruby. Are you saying buy less chucks? That just doesn't compute. I'm sorry. I just can't be thinking about that.
Well, I've run out of room for all my chucks, so
But
I
when you
need.
want a small chuck and
Well, yes, I have those too.
I've only got 5 chucks.
a different brand of chuck and
No, 6. I've only got 6 chucks.
I lost
I've
count.
got 7.
That's why I'm-
I have more than
I
I
have
have
6.
fingers.
But yeah, it's all these things. I mean, there's some fabulous tools out there. With chucks in particular, it doesn't matter which route you go. The first thing you look at is what jaws are available and what might you one day need.
Yes.
Not what jaws you want today, but what will you possibly need in the future, and buy the range of chucks that supports that
You're right.
wide requirement. And once you've gone down a route, I have 3 brands of chucks here. The Record Power I bought purely because of the size of it. I wanted a very small chuck for. I don't know if you've seen my little video doing the watch pins.
Yeah, Jamie says the Easy Wood
I
has.
turn these things by the 100, and they're
Yeah.
3 mil diameter. And so I do small stuff, and a small chuck is
What price is
easier.
it? What price is an Axminster chuck these days?
The last time I bought one, which was a few months ago, which was the new SK100 without any jaws, that was 100 and just short of 150 quid.
Right.
It might have been a little bit cheaper. Can't remember.
Well, the
now.
Easy Wood 4-inch chuck is £438.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That comes
Yeah. I
with
mean, it's always been expensive.
that's with the
As
Easy
Ruby says,
Dovetail.
you only needed one body and different.
How
Yeah.
much-
Jimmy said that the Easy Wood has 6 sets of jaws, and that doesn't include the cold jaws.
No.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking
I
at
mean,
it.
Like I said, it's not necessarily about the jaws that you need today, but the jaws that you might need in the future, and that's a hard thing to think about.
Well, it
So-
depends on if you're doing faceplate turning or if you're doing spindle turning or if you're doing both.
Yeah, and the size and whether you're turning wet wood or dry wood, there's lots of things that will affect the jaws that you want to use.
You better answer that question, Wayne. Have
Yeah,
you
I'm
still
going
got the
to.
chuck you use?
Yeah, I think that's Andy Woodwork Learner. Have you still got the chuck you used when making the rollers to move the stones for the pyramids? No, Andy. I
Don't be
never
daft,
actually.
Andy. That
I
was a
did-
spindle job.
Well,
Exactly what I was going to say, Pete. They were all turned between centres.
Lewis has joined us. Can you show him your 3-wing bowl?
Lewis.
There you go, Lewis. A 3-wing bowl. Started off as a
Cheated.
4-wing and got
He
changed.
cheated. He cheated a little bit.
I cut corners.
So Easy Wood jaws are somewhere between 70 and 100 quid each.
Yeah, Axminster jaws are pretty expensive as well. So
Yeah, they are, right? Yeah.
Especially if you're buying the Axminster jaws and you're going to buy the jaw carriers as well, then it does get a little bit expensive. But they're a hell of a lot easier to change if you've already got the jaw carriers.
yeah,
Quite
what I like
right,
about
quite right
the
insist-
Nova chuck, and that has been, I'm not going to say cloned because it hasn't been cloned. The carrier system, the carrier tops, have been used by Record Power, Sorby, Patriot,
Yep.
and
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I think it's. Oh, I'm going to forget the name now. They're based in Edinburgh. Do a lot of pen turning stuff. Somebody help me with this.
Don't know. Pen turning's a long time ago.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I can't remember the name. But the VersaChuck will take different types of jaws.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, different carriers.
One of
Yeah,
my chucks is a
different
VersaChuck. I've got my
and
cold
that's
jaws on.
I have to
because
say,
when
I like my Vicmark chucks.
Big Mark chucks are also very good.
They were some of the
Um,
first ones I bought, and they work really well.
A lot of people recommend one-way chucks. I've never used a one-way, so I can't comment. But
Not me neither.
I had one, gave it away. It came
I
back.
think
I gave it away again.
okay.
They didn't like it at all.
I'm not
Oh,
very
yeah, okay.
sure. I think Glenn might have a one-way chuck.
Well,
Now,
if he hasn't,
Brian,
I'd be surprised.
have you still got the horses that Wayne borrowed for his lathe when he made the pyramids? That's assuming you were around back then too, Brian.
Oh, Ruby.
I'm not that old, JP.
He was definitely around at that time. We are
Oi,
nearly similar ages.
Nearly close.
JP, if you've got the SC2 and you've got the dome jewels, get yourself a 5mm drill bit, close the jewels up, put the drill bit in the
Drill a
tailstock, and just drill through. And that will give you a tooth on either side of the jaw, as opposed to the dome shape they are at the moment, or when you buy them new.
Because it
And
wouldn't
that gives you
hold
a
water.
grip.
Yeah.
Without that drill through there, they're pretty useless. But with that through there, they're great.
Yeah, I had a job to do this morning and I used them, and I think I'll get another set of those dome jaws, but instead of a 5mm hole, I'm going to put a 3mm hole.
All right. Okay. Whoa.
I think you'll
Nice.
find they're 4mm closed, Ruby. So you need to go.
Right, yeah.
You need
You
to go
might
4.5
get away with-
mil minimum.
You may get away with 4.5, but I don't think 3 would do.
Anyway,
But yeah,
Whatever. Something just to give you the edge. That's what you need.
yeah, you need a little corner there to help hold. The way they're
do.
machined, they hold well against metal. They're designed the way metal jaws hold, but wood needs something a little more
need something to
grippy.
bite in.
Yeah.
You get a 5mm
Roy,
hole.
that's a
The whole
5.
idea was 5mm. I think you did 5.5, didn't you, Brian?
I did 5.5 because it's the only drill I could find at the time, and it's fine. It's fine for me.
And I used a 5.
And it works a treat. You could put a 6mm hole in it if you wanted. If you depends how small you want to go.
Yeah.
But Ruby's idea of a smaller hole is a good idea because if you just want enough to catch a small piece,
Just to make a little
should
tooth.
work.
that's all.
you know, it should.
Yeah, like the pegs that I had to do this morning were the ends of them were just under 1/4 of an inch,
Right.
and 5mm is basically 1/4.
The only problem with having different chucks is having different chuck keys. Got to know where you put the chuck key.
That's the biggest problem with the record power chucks. Is the chuck keys.
I have mentioned that to them as well, to their research and development team.
Okay, so there's the chuck on there with a very small blank in it, which
It's not going anywhere.
I am pulling that pretty hard and that isn't budging. If I take it out again, I should be able to show you on the camera, hopefully.
Right.
You'll have to highlight you, Pete.
The company I was talking about for the VersaChuck.
Yeah, you can just about see it. There's a
Yep.
tooth mark there.
Yeah,
and
Over
there.
ink.
Buffett
Yeah, we
ink.
can see it.
Thanks, Brian.
Buffett ink, yeah. Yeah.
I bought one as well, and I bought the carriers for the Axminster jaws and for the record power jaws. So I have a set of Axminster jaws.
But yeah, I
Obviously,
mean, different chucks for different purposes is good.
Yeah.
I've got the VersaChuck and I keep my cold jewels on it. I've got 16-inch cold jewels, which are quite fiddly to put on and off. 10-inch ones are easy, but the 16-inch ones, they're just a nuisance.
Mhm.
So to leave them on a VersaChuck at all times, so they're always available to me, makes sense to me.
I made a set of coal jaws from 3/4-inch plywood to use on the VB.
Well, I was
Wow.
demonstrating a Nova chuck once at a wood show, and a chap came up and he bought the chuck with the coal jaws, and he said, "Do they make coal jaws that are bigger that'll fit this chuck?" And they didn't. And I said, "Yeah, I wish they made one longer because I could use one longer on one of my other lathes." He came back the very next morning and he handed me a set of coal jaws that he went home and made that were another 2 inches longer or bigger in diameter.
Wow.
There is one
Good job.
coal jaws series that have bolt-on bits to extend the wings. Can't remember who makes that one.
One trick.
Like I say, I made mine out of 3/4 ply to fit
One-
onto the VB, which used the Axminster jaw carriers, and that was around about 2 foot in diameter.
Yeah, the easy woods you can do that. One thing I found with the coal jaws that I do, I got longer screws, and what I do is I double the amount of the rubber parts.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
put 2 of those on the screw and then put them into the jaws. And I find that on most bowls that I've used them on, it works better.
Market
Market
Turrigan said it's
Flanagan,
Nova
yeah.
make the extendable coal jaws.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I have
If you've,
vacuum chuck.
if you've
Makes
got
it
a default set and then you can just extend them when you've got something bigger.
Yeah. So both Nova and Easywood have those. They have the extenders.
Yeah, that's a sensible way to go. Although, being perfectly honest, I use a friction plate as often as I use the coal tools,
Yeah.
or more often than I use the coal tools.
Actually, I use my vacuum chuck more.
Well, to tell
Yeah,
you
I
the
don't have
truth,
one yet.
if you get a decent vacuum chuck, now I don't have a vacuum chuck that runs off the compressor. I've got a vacuum chuck that runs off a vacuum pump, and I've only ever used it. It was the fastener I have for it only fits on the VB, and I have had pieces on there 18, 19, 20 inches diameter on the vacuum chuck, and it never moves. It grips like I don't know what. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, mine runs off a pump as well. And the only time I ever had a problem with my a piece on the lathe being held by the vacuum was when the city came along and they turned the power off.
Oh, oops.
Oh, dear me.
Yes,
That's a problem.
yes. Everything
You-
stopped.
Now, the other thing with vacuum chucks is what people who use vacuum chucks or are beginners with vacuum chucks is if you turn the piece too thin, vacuum chucks won't work
Right,
because it's just going to pull the air. And plus, if you're turning burrs or burls, vacuum chucks don't tend to work because they just pull the air straight through.
straight through.
You,
Right.
it doesn't cause a vacuum. So it just pulls the air straight through, and you will not get the vacuum to finish off
Yeah.
the turning.
Yeah.
Same with inclusions and spalted and various other.
Yeah, on mine I have a gauge on the pump that is quite visible from where I stand at the lathe. And once I've turned it on, I just look over at the gauge, and as long as it's within the range that I want, I know I'm good to go.
Right, Andrew from AGK is said he's been thinking of getting a vacuum chuck, just not sure which one to get. Andrew, if you look at a company, I think they're called Airpress. They are not cheap. They are probably one of the most expensive out there, but that's the system I've got, and they are absolutely brilliant. I believe Glyn used to have a vacuum truck that worked off his compressor, which we
Which I
had at
have.
shows and things when we were demonstrating at shows and things. But the air press system, which is the system I've got, is absolutely brilliant. Very,
Yeah,
very expensive though.
Yeah, the One Way makes a vacuum system and pump and chucks, and I'm trying to think. It starts with wood out of Australia.
Hold fast.
Yeah,
Woodfast?
Holdfast also
Holdfast?
makes vacuum chucks that you can get a bar that'll go through your headstock, and you can hook up to a vacuum pump as well.
I've just turned my lathe off, so
Doombar.
Where's ours?
Mine came from
yes.
Hope Woodturn. That's where I got my vacuum
Enchanted,
chuck from.
right, Enchanted Wood Designs is also said, I will throw in, even with a good vacuum seal, you need to have a really strong pull straight off. He's had pieces that has slipped sideways with a good vac, but not often, he said.
Well, you get used to it in a very short time.
Can, yeah.
Most of my vacuum chucks, the part that screws on the headstock, mine are all homemade. Where I
Douglas Mullen
just
got a good question there.
Yeah, Douglas has said he's got a vacuum that he uses for wood hardening. Is that okay to use? I'm not too sure, Doug. It all depends on
How many bars of vacuum it creates is the key thing.
yeah,
Isn't it?
how many bars of vacuum it creates.
You need between 15 and 20.
It needs to be a very good a good pull, if you like, on the vacuum.
Yeah, apparently Ed Oliver carries the Holdfast, and that's a good system. I
Yes.
use it for my travel lathes because it's easy to pack up and it's lightweight.
Now the vacuum chuck I've got, the actual chuck piece is around about 5 inch. Oh, around about 5 inch. And that is a bit big for some of the pieces that I wanted to do. So I actually made one. I made a smaller chuck to fit onto my system, which is around about 2 inch, and I made that out of elm, and I made the seal, if you like, out of a pair of welly boots.
Right. Or you can go to a craft store and
I
buy
have a
some
neoprene.
what they call
Yeah,
fun foam.
neoprene works very well as well.
Yeah. Fun foam works well too.
Douglas is asking what pool does it need to work. I think Brian said 12 to 15, was it?
No, 15 to 20.
15 to
That's
20.
what mine works at.
Mine works at 30.
It works fine.
But
And there's a system that I use. It's the comes from came from Ed Oliver's, but you can also buy the vacuum chucking system, the little cups that you actually screw onto your spindle. You can buy them from Simon Hope as well if you wanted, different size, etc.
Is that the one that works off the compressor, Brian?
Yes. Just works off
Right,
your standard compressor.
Yeah, you've got two systems really. You've got the system that works off an actual vacuum pump, which draws the vacuum, or
That's
you've got the
correct.
system that works off a compressor. And it might
Venturi
seem a
system.
bit seem a bit strange to say that you're actually using a compressor to cause the vacuum, but like
wrong,
Brian
right?
said there, it works off a Venturi system. So you have the air going past the system, which draws out the air holding onto the piece.
So for the Holdfast system, the Holdfast V812, you need a minimum of 2.5 FM. That's CFM. and then 55 to 65 psi. That any small compressor, any sort of 25 litre compressor, will run that chuck. Because that's what I run it off in the beginning. I run it off a small 25 litre generic little compressor, and it works fine.
And it does work. It works very well.
Yep.
Like I say,
Works grand.
I've done demos with Glyn, with Yorkshire Grit, and held resin pieces in a vacuum chuck that works off a compressor, and they work brilliant.
Yep. And the price of the whole system with a 3-inch cup, 75 ml cup, is £234. If you have a compressor already, you don't need to buy a compressor, obviously.
I don't have a compressor.
Yeah,
Um,
I use a pump. I use a pump. Like my travel one is.
Yeah, vacuum pump. Yeah.
It was off of a freezer pump, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Or
all right,
so.
but
That is just a compressor.
they're good things. They don't work on everything, but when they work well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're very handy for a lot of things. Like I took some 2-inch PVC pipe and I cut it short and put it into a piece of wood mounted on a faceplate and put some foam on the top. And I use, when I'm turning eggs, like if I have to do a dozen eggs or something, I can just plop those in there, bring up the tailstock to center them, round off the end of the egg, turn it over, do the other end.
Yeah,
And so for a lot of different little things, they're very good.
but it would have done this perfectly, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah.
Oh,
No.
definitely.
And Lewis says the best vacuum chuck he's seen was made from a milking machine.
Yeah, I mean they've got quite a strong vacuum pump on
Right.
those.
Douglas is asking, what is the maximum turning speed? Now, the thing is, what
Well-
you've got to remember, Douglas, a lot of people use vacuum chucks purely for finishing off the bottom of bowls. That's what it tends to get used for. So with the cold jaws, it tends to be the maximum speed with cold jaws tends to be around about 500.
500.
60.
Yeah, I have turned certainly with the VB using the vacuum chuck. I tend to keep it around about 500, 600.
I kind of find you get to know your system and you listen to your machine.
Yep.
Because most of my lathes don't have a speed output on it. And you get to know what speed it'll hold at and work best. And I go by that.
Somewhere between 600 and 800 works for me. But that's purely for taking the tenon off in the bottom or something, you know.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you would leave the tailstock brought up until the very end.
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
100%.
Oh, definitely.
I tend to use the tailstock as often as I can.
You always need to be safe.
Safer's better.
Safe is better than sorry.
Yep.
I can't
Minus
afford a
500
vacuum
minimum.
chuck, so I got a bit of wood with a nut in the middle.
500 will do, Douglas. I mean, I run mine between 600 and 800 on my vacuum chuck.
The back of that piece of
But-
wood is also a sanding
but
disc just to make it
if you-
dual purpose.
Yeah. If you're going to start your lathe at 500 and it has a quick start, it doesn't have an easy start, if you like, and make sure you get your tailstock up before you turn it on.
Now, Peter's just showed that piece that he uses for putting the top of the bowl onto, bring the tailstock up and cleaning off the bottom. Now, I took a couple of lessons. I spent a week. Well, I did one seminar with him, and I did a weekend's turn with him when Gin and I went down to into the lakes, which is where he lives. A guy called Morris Mullins. You probably wouldn't have heard of him. Sadly, he's not with us anymore. An absolute excellent, brilliant turner. And he first showed me an Axminster chuck when he was taking off the tenon on a bowl. And that Axminster chuck was a piece of Axminster carpet. Which is what he put the top of the bowl onto and brought the tailstock off and brought off the tenon of a bowl.
Andy's asking how thick the foam is. If you go to places like Greece where they have tiled floors, and then you go to Lidl, and that little aisle down the middle, they sell 3 metre by 3 metre, basically router matting, which they put underneath the rugs to stop people breaking their neck when they step on a rug on a tiled floor. And I bought one of them years and years and years ago when I was out there, and I just chopped that up and I use it for all sorts. It is white as opposed to black. So if you put a pale bowl on it, pale wood bowl on it, and it moves a little bit, it doesn't get horrible marks on it.
Right. Same thing when you put the foam around the top of a chuck. If you can use the white, that's better than a color.
Yeah, it doesn't transfer colour. So it's a white router matting basically. But I got it from Lidl in Greece.
Okay.
I've not seen it over here in large sheets.
Well, white,
I say it's 3 metre by 3 metre. I think it cost me a tenner.
Where did I see that?
Right.
But,
Now, I've mentioned this guy, Morris Mullins, because I really like him. Excellent, excellent turner. I first met him, probably 1989, 1990. And then I went to do some stuff with him. At that time, he was actually in the Guinness Book of Records for having the smallest goblet with a captive ring, which he actually kept in a very small test tube with the lid on at that time. Now, I have searched the Guinness Book of Records to try and find it since. Back in the 90s, I could find it. I can't find it now. But that's one of the things that he did. And that was back in 89, 90. He got in the Guinness Book of Records.
Yeah. Andy says IKEA do the white, by the way.
Right. I would recommend, whether you need it or not, get yourself down to IKEA at some point, pick up a large piece of that white rug mat, anti-slip rug grip, or whatever they call it. It is router matting by any other name, and it is so useful for so many things.
You can buy it on Amazon, Pete.
Amazon as well.
100
just grab some.
centimetres by 150 centimetres, £9.99.
Yeah,
I'll give
I
you
mean,
that.
as I said, I got 3 metre by 3 metre for about the same price. But I've still got it folded up in a drawer over there. But
This
yeah,
is
you
the
cut
stuff.
bits off and you stick it onto this and that and the other. You can chuck a piece on your workbench if you ever do any flat work. It's brilliant stuff. And being white, it doesn't stain the wood.
Yeah.
Yes, Douglas, I can drop it on the floor.
There you
Oh, Andrew's having to leave.
go. So is Roy the boy. So is Roy the boy. He's off too.
And Roy as well.
So there's a link for the. That's an EU link. I've just noticed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, it's .co.uk. No, it's okay. Click a link, it takes you to the UK one. I can't even pronounce the word.
That's because you
But
live
it's
too close to
100.
Dublin.
It's 100 centimetres by 150 centimetres, multi-purpose, non-slip, under rug gripper, anti-slip mat.
There you go.
Yeah, that'll set you up well. It's really handy stuff, and you can use it on all sorts of things.
Just have to order a bit of that now, won't I?
Yeah.
Well, currently there's 25% off it.
Even better. Or does that mean it's 25% smaller?
No, 20. Good question. Proceed to check out one item. Every time I come on here with you, Pete, I end up spending money. How is that?
What's your fault?
That's right.
Of
You've
course it
got
is.
lots to spend.
Yeah, I haven't spent anything today.
Neither
No.
have I.
But you did it the weekend. What
I
is
did at
that
the
now?
weekend.
Oh, text
Yeah.
message Ramsden.
Yeah, he's already gone through his week's limit.
Now, Pete's got to
Yeah,
start
he has,
saving
right.
up now again for Harrogate.
Yep. Yeah,
I've already saved up for Harrogate.
well, I saved up for Harrogate and then I blew my tool budget on Friday.
You did.
So I got to save
Oh,
up again.
dear me.
But that's all right. I can do that.
I'll start with that.
I've got a few days yet. And actually, I've got a bird box order in, so that'll pay for Harrogate. That'll be fine.
Hopefully have that by Wednesday. I can let you see it on Thursday night, guys. There you go. We'll see if it's any good or not. See if you all spend the money on it.
Okay, so we've gone over the hour.
We have.
I believe Doug's on tomorrow evening.
He is, yes.
Doug is on tomorrow. Yeah.
Wayne, are you on Wednesday?
I'm on Wednesday, yes. I will be doing a 3-wing bull, maybe goblet,
That's a good dog.
maybe something else. But I'll be doing the hashtag week. That's what I'll be doing.
Cool. Something with 3 points on it. And Wayne on Wednesday will tell you coming up for the rest of the week. Thank you all for
Yeah.
coming in, and thank you
Cool.
to my support crew for great support as always.
You're welcome.
And see you on the next one. I think I'm next on in February. That's when Terry's
Next
away on
on in
holiday
February
again.
is right.
Yeah, you think.
Well, yeah.
I can't see Terry going between now and February without a vacation.
Yeah,
Thanks,
You're
Andy.
probably right there.
give it a fortnight.
Right. Cheers, everyone.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Take care. And